Welcome back to the Old Photo Vault channel. A blurred figure descending the worn staircase of an abandoned building. Prague, 1936. The air inside was heavy, untouched for years, carrying the faint scent of stone and rain. I remember raising the camera, the dim light catching the edge of the stairs just before the shadow moved. It wasn't sudden, more like a slow drift, as if time itself had forgotten to keep still. The outline was unmistakable. Tall, cloaked, dissolving into the wall before it reached the final step. When I developed the film, the figure was still there, frozen mid-motion, head bowed as though in mourning. The silence in that image feels endless, the kind that echoes even when no one speaks. Some staircases lead upward, others lead back to what refuses to rest. A spiral staircase hidden within the old tunnels of Fort Nelson, Hampshire, 2025. I took this photo inside a dark, restricted tunnel at Fort Nelson, just beyond the barred gate where visitors aren't allowed. The air was damp and heavy, and the spiral staircase seemed to vanish into the shadows above. When I looked at the picture later, I felt a strange chill. There, just to the left of the handrail, something seemed to take shape in the darkness. Maybe it's just the play of light and brick, but I can't shake the feeling that someone or something was standing there watching. Perhaps it's only my eyes, or perhaps the past still lingers in places like this. An old portrait of a couple taken in a dimly lit parlor, Virginia, 1892. The photograph bears the marks of age. Its edges softened, the faces fading into the paper like memories dissolving into fog. The man sits stiffly in his suit, hand resting on his knee, while the woman stands beside him, posture straight yet strangely blurred, as though she were caught halfway between presence and departure. Behind them hangs a faint picture on the wall, almost mirroring their pose. A reflection within a reflection. Something about her expression feels distant, her outline lighter than his, less anchored to the world. It's said she passed not long after this photo was taken, but her image remains pale, steady, and unblinking. The more one stares, the more it feels like she's still standing there, waiting for the moment to breathe again. An ornate white oval frame resting on a wooden dresser in a quiet Surrey home. 2025. I took this photo at my sister's house, thinking nothing of it at first. Just a dusty old mirror she hadn't used in ages. But when I looked again, I saw it. The dust had settled into the faint shape of a figure, delicate yet unmistakably human. The curve of the form, the shadowed outline, seemed too intentional to be chance. The lamplight flickered softly across the glass, and for a fleeting moment, I thought I saw the shape move just slightly, like a breath behind the mirror. The air grew colder then, though no window was open, and I felt the quiet of the room shift, almost as if it were listening. I told myself it was only dust and imagination, yet something about it lingers. Some reflections, I've learned, don't always belong to us. An old white farmhouse standing silent at the edge of a country road, Vermont, 2025. I was stopped at a red light when something urged me to take a picture of the house. It wasn't planned, just a sudden pull, as if the place itself wanted to be seen. At first I laughed, pointing out how the front door looked like a face staring back. But when I checked the photos, my smile faded. In one, two dark eyes seemed to glare from the door. In another, nothing at all. Then, in the third, there it was. A face with burning yellow eyes, and others faintly beside it, watching. I remember whispering, asking if anyone inside wanted to speak, though the house stood still as stone. The longer I looked, the more I felt it. A quiet awareness pressing from within the walls. Some houses don't just hold memories, They remember who's looking. A candid portrait taken at a late-night gathering, shadows curling softly behind. Manchester, 2024. I remember that night clearly. The air humming with laughter and the faint scent of rain. Someone snapped this photo just as I turned to smile, unaware of what lingered in the darkness behind me. Later, when I looked at the image, I noticed the faint outline, almost human, yet not quite, hovering in the shadows. The light fell strangely, shaping what seemed like a face caught between smoke and air. Everyone joked about who it resembled, but I couldn't laugh for long. The longer I stared, the more I felt that whatever it was had been looking right at me, waiting to be noticed. Some presences don't need to be seen to make themselves known. A dimly lit moment captured in Callie Jackson's home, Tennessee, 2025. My sister had been hesitant to share this, afraid it might be dismissed as imagination. But that night, she felt the air shift, a subtle hum that made the room feel alive, as if someone unseen had just stepped closer. The camera caught what her eyes could not. Faint shapes moving through the dark, a whisper of motion where there should have been stillness. You can almost sense it watching, patient and deliberate, lingering at the edges of light. Callie said she felt a warmth at her shoulder, like a breath that wasn't her own. When we watched the footage later, the silence between us was heavier than any words. Some things don't reveal themselves in full. They only let you glimpse the moment they choose to be known. An unexplained orb drifting through a quiet hallway, Tennessee, 2025. It began as nothing more than a flicker caught by the camera, a shimmer too deliberate to be dust. The motion alert chimed, breaking the stillness. Something had moved. Something the eye could not follow. The air monitor by the door began to glow faintly, its light rising in response to the unseen presence drawing near. Whatever it wasn't reflecting light, and it was making its own, pulsing softly like a heartbeat in the dark. Watching it back, I felt a strange calm, the kind that comes when you know you're not entirely alone. Some say orbs are only tricks of the lens, but sometimes a lens catches what the living can't. A strange silhouette seen through an upstairs window. Nottinghamshire, 2025. I took this photo without much thought, just a quick snapshot of an ordinary brick house. But when I looked closer, something in the window caught my breath. There, against the pale blue glass, stood what looked like a small figure, upright, distinct, as though frozen mid-step beside the curtain. The light was steady, the air still, yet the shape seemed to carry its own quiet energy, too defined to be reflection or trick of the sun. For a moment, I imagined it watching from the other side, curious about whoever was watching it. The house itself gave no sign of life, but the window, it felt aware, like an open eye between worlds. Some places hold their own witnesses, silent, waiting, and strangely familiar. A quiet brick house under the fading light of evening, Kentucky, 2025. I had driven past this house dozens of times, but that evening, something about it made me stop. The sun was low, glinting off the large front window, and for an instant, I thought I saw movement inside, just the faintest shape retreating into shadow. Later, when I looked closer through a magnifying glass, I noticed details that shouldn't have been there. Outlines, reflections, perhaps something watching from the other side of the glass. It's strange how the lens reveals what the naked eye refuses to see. The air felt still, but the silence carried weight, as though the house itself held its breath. I don't know if it was imagination or memory, but even now, that window feels like an open door to something that never quite left. An abandoned upper corridor cloaked in dust and silence, Pennsylvania, 2020. I remember stepping into this space and feeling the air change. Heavy, unmoving, as if time itself had stopped to listen. The dim light from my camera flashed against the cracked floorboards, revealing lines and markings whose meanings were long forgotten. I stood still, yet something in the shadows ahead seemed to shift, slow and deliberate, just beyond sight. Later, when I looked at the photo, I noticed the faint orb of light near the ceiling, suspended midair, as if caught in motion. It wasn't dust. I'd felt its presence even before I saw it. The silence in that place wasn't empty. It was watchful, patient, waiting for anyone brave enough to look too long. A lone figure standing by the water's edge beneath a fading sky. Yorkshire, 1938. I didn't take this photograph, yet every time I look at it, it feels like the air around me grows colder. The woman stands perfectly still, her white dress glowing faintly against the dark reeds, her reflection too sharp, too complete, as if the water remembers her more clearly than the world above. Her face is turned toward the camera, yet there's no life in her gaze, only the pale echo of something that lingers. They say this pond was once the site of a lost village, swallowed by time and silence. Sometimes, at dusk, locals whisper that they see her there again, waiting, unchanging, a memory that refuses to sink. Even in stillness, the water trembles, as though it knows that she never left. A faint figure drifting along a garden path of an old estate, Sussex, 1912. The photo was meant to capture the quiet beauty of the brick walkway, the ivy, and the iron gate at the end. Yet what emerged was something else entirely. A woman caught mid-step, her form blurred as though she were made of mist and memory. The light strikes her just enough to reveal the outline of her face, then fades, leaving uncertainty where substance should be. The cat in the corner seems to notice her too, its gaze fixed on the space she occupies. Perhaps she once tended this garden, walking the same path long before the world forgot her name. In her calm stillness, there's no malice, only longing, a soft reminder that not every goodbye finds its end. An old stone window at a centuries-old manor, Warwickshire, 2024. I leaned closer to the cold glass, drawn by something I couldn't quite name. The iron lattice cut through the dim reflection, but behind it, the shadows seemed to form a shape. Pale, human, and still. The air around the window felt different, charged, as if it remembered every breath ever taken within those walls. I tried to tell myself it was only the play of light against the stone, but the longer I looked, the more certain I became that someone was looking back. The house itself seemed to exhale, its silence too deliberate, too aware. Some windows don't just show the past, they hold it, waiting for eyes willing to meet its gaze once more. A casual evening photo taken outside an old dormitory building, Oxfordshire, 2011. It was meant to be just another group picture. Laughter, music, and the easy glow of night settling in around us. None of us noticed anything strange at the time. The windows above were dark, the halls empty for renovation. But when the photo surfaced later, someone pointed to the window. A pale shape, a figure watching, its face caught in the faint spill of light. The floor it stood on had been closed for years, the windows bolted from the inside. I remember staring at that small circle of glass, feeling the warmth drain from the room. Some presences don't need to make a sound. They only wait for a camera to remember them. An abandoned manor staircase swallowed by decay and silence. Cornwall, 2022. The air inside was thick with damp, the kind that clings to your skin and whispers of years left untouched. Each step up the moss-covered stairs felt like walking into someone else's memory, heavy, reluctant, unwilling to let go. The walls still bore faint traces of beauty. Tiled borders of lilies, faded and crumbling beneath the weight of time. At the landing above, a door hung slightly open, breathing darkness into the room below. I thought I heard something move beyond it, a soft shift like fabric brushing stone. The place felt watchful, its emptiness alive with the ghosts of laughter, footsteps, and forgotten stories. Even the silence had a pulse. Slow, patient, and endlessly listening. A quiet family portrait taken in a sunlit living room. Lancashire, 1994. It's a simple moment. A young family gathered close, their faces soft with the warmth of ordinary love. The baby sleeps peacefully in the mother's arms while the father smiles, unaware of what the camera has caught beyond them. In the reflection of the window, something faint stirs. Shapes that don't belong to the room, blurred yet strangely distinct. Perhaps it's just light bending through glass, or perhaps the house was listening, holding on to an echo of someone who used to stand there. The stillness of the scene makes it easy to forget how the past lingers in places like this. Some memories never fade. They simply wait for another flash to bring them briefly back to life. A man resting quietly with his cat asleep across his chest. Bristol, 2021. The photo feels soft and unguarded, a rare pause in a restless world. The man's eyes meet the lens with calm indifference, while the cat lies draped across him, lost in dreams only animals understand. There's a quiet symmetry to the moment. The rise and fall of breath, the shared stillness between two living things. Yet, in the dim light, a faint haze curls near the edge of the frame, almost like a sigh caught on film. Perhaps it's nothing more than a trick of air and light. Or perhaps it's the room itself breathing along with them. In that fragile calm, even silence seems alive. A fleeting reflection inside a moving car under streetlight glow. Edinburgh, 2023. It happened in a blur. The hum of the engine, the glow of passing lamps, and a sudden shimmer in the glass that wasn't quite my own reflection. The camera caught what my eyes couldn't. Light twisting into strange forms, faces half-formed in motion, a ghostly echo of the moment suspended in time. The driver's outline seems to drift between worlds, solid one instant and vapor the next. There's something haunting about how the image refuses to settle, as if the night itself breathed onto the lens. When I look at it now, I can almost hear the faint sound of wind whispering through the frame, carrying with it the memory of something that was never entirely there and never completely gone. A dim bedroom lit only by the glow of a television screen. Colorado, 2024. The room was quiet. The kind of silence that hums just beneath the sound of the TV. I hadn't meant to take the photo. It was almost accidental, a quick press of the button while settling into bed. But when I looked later, there it was. A pale, shifting form near the wall, half hidden in the shadows. It looked as though it was moving, but everything else was perfectly still. The air in that corner had always felt colder, heavier somehow. And that night, it seemed to pulse with something unseen. The light from the screen painted strange colors across the walls, and for a second, I thought I saw it turn. Perhaps it's nothing more than motion and light. Or perhaps something was watching the show with me. An abandoned factory hall washed in pale green light. Birmingham, 2010. We found the place by accident, following the sound of dripping water through the overgrown yard. Inside, the air was heavy with dust and rust, the faint echo of machinery long gone. The windows glowed faintly from the evening sky, casting ghostly patterns across the empty frames of old workstations. Everything felt too still, as if the building itself was holding its breath. When I lifted the camera, I caught more than I expected. Faint spheres of light hanging mid-air, hovering in the silence. They seemed to drift with purpose, like remnants of motion from another time. Standing there, I could almost hear the hum of engines, the murmur of voices, and the weight of years pressing down. A whisper of life that never truly left. And that's where the past and the unknown quietly meet. in every shadow, every faded frame. If you felt something watching, even for a moment, share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more mysteries hidden in vintage photos. Because sometimes, the past never really leaves.